Let's do it. We live. We almost got it. Well, hey, hello and welcome and hello. It's Total Spotfest here. We're trying to recreate the magic of last week with the instant F-bombs by one Mr. Austin Reddick, who is, as you see right there, I am JJ. That is Jamie. This is Total Spotfest. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Apparently not. Yeah, so they're going South Park on it, you know, trying to bend the shit a little bit. Shit. Oh my god! For those of you unaware in the know, yes, we are that old. But no, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Austin, Jamie, how the hell have you been? Oh, is that what they're doing? Okay. All right. I actually haven't seen any of the Tom Hardy Venom ones, so I need to move that up my list so I can be in the. God, I was so excited too when we're finally getting Venom on the screen. It's going to be great. It's tough for Grace. I go, well, let's just see. And then it's like, oh God, that was bad. That was so bad. Anyway. You might have noticed we got some dishes here. Jamie decided to flip his camera around and got himself a new desk. He's I think he's only doing this just to rub it in because he's got wrestling gold around him. So he's okay. That is, I mean, if we do no other WWE, we have to do the Rumble. That is, for those of you unfamiliar, that is the show we started on when we started this podcast. That is, me and Jamie have long pontificated about that being our like sentimental favorite pay-per-views of all times was the Rumble. I mean, yeah, you know, the Rumble. We've had many a talk about the Rumble itself. Lists. Mount Rushmore's, absolutely we're doing the Rumble. 100%. Yes. I mean, it's a paper. It is a pay-per-view though. Wait, it's actually on like regular TV? All right, well we'll hold up. Let's wait and see. Yeah. A scientist. I am. No, we won't do it. I am really ready for pay-per-views on Max. Like, really ready. More than likely. Well, it is what it is. One thing that would be great to see on pay-per-view, but unfortunately is not broadcast live. You must be there to be in the know. Is our friends in Denver, Lucha Libres and Laughs. Another wonderful show this past weekend, Austin. I do like how they go to you on Facebook. Like
updates along the way. Like, this is how many tickets left. That's Triple L's a hot ticket, man. You got to buy it early. You're not going to get it day of. And if you are in Denver and you're a wrestling fan, I hope you got your ticket early. Because as I've mentioned in the show in the past, there is one thing Triple L can do that I've never seen any other indie promotion be able to do. And that is throw out a match everyone would absolutely pay to see without advertising it. If you got your ticket and you showed up to Triple L, you got to see the show kick off with Heidi Howitzer versus Colt Cabana.
Kicking off, too. That's amazing.
Kicking off and unannounced.
Open the show with Colt Cabana versus Heidi Howitzer.
Yeah. That's the magic of Triple L, man. Like, the stuff that's advertised is always good, but more often than not, you're going to get something that wasn't advertised that you would have been dying to see.
So good. So good.
For me, I wish I was there because Heidi, as we know, is one of the best shit talkers that there is in the ring, right? And she is a very comedic wrestler. But there is the comedic wrestler, and I feel like that's one Colt Cabana. And those two together must have been absolutely batshit crazily hilarious.
It was a very good time. My personal favorite part of the match, though, and you might have heard me if you were in the crowd laughing from backstage. At one point, Colt Cabana rolls out of the ring and grabs a microphone and starts talking to the crowd. It's kind of the classic. Heidi strolls up behind him, taps him on the shoulder, and he's looking around but not turning around like, wait. Who's behind me? And some random fan in the crowd just yelled, CM Punk. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And
please tell me he recognized it and laughed.
To his credit, he, without missing a beat, went, well, that would be awkward.
So good. So good.
It was glorious. I
have so good.
Not been on a show with Colt Cabana in over a decade before this. But just an absolute treasure to see work.
Fantastic. Oh my God.
Perfect.
We say it every time.
Absolutely.
And we're not just whistling Dixie. I mean, if you can make it to Denver for a Triple L show, Jamie and I made a trip out of it. It's worth it going if you're a wrestling fan and you enjoy indie promotions. It is worth it to make it to Denver, make a trip out of it. Depending where you live, it might be a little out of the way. But hey, they got an international airport. Easy peasy, right? Make a weekend out of it if you want. It's all sorts of great stuff to do in Denver. But my God, it is definitely worth it for you to check out. 100%.
And even if you're not a wrestling fan, which you're probably not listening to us if you're not a wrestling fan, but maybe you've got some friends that aren't wrestling fans. I would say about half the Triple L crowd are not necessarily pro wrestling fans.
Yeah.
They couldn't name one person AEW. They couldn't name one person WWE that's not John Cena. Like, these are Triple L fans because it is its own special, unique, magical event. And definitely worth making a trip out to Denver for. The next show is March 7th, which is a Friday. No matches have been announced yet, but the poster has been released, and both Effie and Man Scout will be in attendance for that show. So it'll be another good time.
Man Scout's so fun. We've seen Man Scout at Revolver.
Man Scout's great.
Revolver, man. What was it? He was in I can't remember what the name of the match was, but it was Man Scout, Dan. It was Man Scout versus Dan the Dad.
No, with Dan the Dad. They were a tag team together.
It was like a hardcore match of some sort, or there was. All I know is that there was a tent bit that.
Yeah, because they were called Dad Scout.
Dad Scout, right? That there was a tent bit where they both went into the tent and came out wearing each other's shorts.
Yeah, Man Scout's awesome.
So good.
So good. So good.
So good.
So I'm gonna turn to Jamie.
And then you're wrestling again next Saturday in Wichita, HCW, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir. A week from Saturday here in Wichita for Heartland Championship Wrestling. Myself and my tag team partner, the HCW Tag Team Champions, ACFC, are taking on Only Friends. We're defending our titles.
Ooh, it gets Only Friends.
Only Friends.
Even better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Is Heidi on the card?
You'll have to show up to find out. Not announced yet, but
okay.
I would be willing to bet she'll be there.
Tickets are still available for this show.
I think we might try to make the trip. At least Megan and I, for sure.
Nice.
HCW is a good time. It's definitely a different vibe than Triple L, but it's just like good local pro wrestling done right. It's not super old school, so it's not like something where you're just going to see headlocks and shoulder tackles. But it is more of just a classic pro wrestling event. And Wichita's a wrestling town, man. Like, crowds show up for HCW. Hasn't been a bad draw yet in well over a year of that promotion running. So,
well, that's what Jimmy wants to see, because that's the home turf is in Wichita.
Yeah,
and it's really good to go check it out when it's in town, Leavenworth here. Real good spot. I mean, it's very enjoyable, but seeing it in its like home environment is always sort of, the coup de grace thing, right? It's like ECW is ECW, but ECW at the Hammerstein Ballroom, right?
Yeah.
This is your Hammerstein.
Yes, the Osage Park Recreation Center in South Wichita is basically the Hammerstein Ballroom.
What? So who's the best technical wrestler there that I could give the most shit to?
I mean, me.
Well, that's a given. Other than you, because I still will give you shit.
Non-Austin Reddick category.
Yeah.
The best technical wrestler there would be the illustrious Ray Leone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think he is still recovering from a partial quad tear.
I was going to say he's still out, right? Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to be back or not yet, because it was only partial, and the recovery time, I was talking to him back in December, wasn't as long as you would think. So I don't know for sure whether he's wrestling this show or coming back pretty soon.
What about Jose, that Jose character?
I love Jose. El Matador. Yeah. Jose's great.
You did catch the Lion Tamer yells at the last show, right, Austin?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my next victim for Lion Tamers. Until I get one in a ring.
If you come to the show, I will convince somebody to do a Lion Tamer for you.
If they get the person, if it's for the win to tap him out, I'm done saying it. It's retired.
They couldn't do this because, much like the intro on YouTube for the algorithm, HCW does not condone F-bombs. But what I'd really like is to convince someone to start putting someone into lion tamer, then stop, drop their legs, and just give you the finger.
That's perfect.
Point you out specifically.
That's perfect because Jeremy Wyatt.
Did you get that from? I was gonna say you got that already.
Yeah, Jeremy Wyatt had somebody starting to grab him, dropped their legs, looked at me, and just said "F you," like hardcore right at me. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it was at the coffee shop. When we were at the coffee shop, it was. Oh,
I love living rent free in wrestlers' heads.
It was so good, awesome. Because Jamie literally grabs onto me like he's like a scared wife going on a roller coaster for the first time in his life. Right, grabs my shirt, and like, oh, and then Jeremy Wyatt comes over and just go. And Jamie was giddy the rest of the night. It was fantastic.
It's stuff like that makes pro wrestling the greatest art form in the world. Like, you don't get that kind of interaction with performers in any other medium.
So good.
Speaking of which, the performers, we've gotten to know the performers, and especially around the Kansas City area, well, the greater Kansas area, I would say, pretty well here in the past few years since doing this. We have one of them now as a part of the dais here on the show. And Jamie, there's somebody who, while might be a little newer to us though, in the community, local here in the Midwest, that is in need of some help.
Yes. So if you've been to a Fountain City Pro show, you've probably seen, and definitely HCW, you've seen Chocolate Violence, right? And one of the main guys from that, he also runs his own independent wrestling promotion down in southwestern Kansas, I believe. Like the Lucha, it's a Lucha show.
Yeah, they bounce between Garden City and Dodge City.
Yeah. Name's Angel, and absolutely great wrestler, fun. He's so fun. He threw a shoe at somebody, and I instantly go, "Who throws a shoe?" Honestly, and it was just perfect. But anyway, he needs some help, ladies and gentlemen. He was in a pretty bad accident. Actually, is a very bad accident. It took the life of his brother-in-law due to the road conditions in a semi just losing control. So. If you go to Fountain City Pro's Twitter page, and I think it might even be up on their Facebook
it's on all their socials. It's on all Fountain City
socials. It's everywhere. He's got a GoFundMe up to help with any of their bills, getting them going, because obviously, being a severe accident like that, you have to try to take care of these people, and wrestlers are there to entertain us, and we should definitely try to do whatever we can to take care of them. So if you would find generosity in your heart to help out Angel in his recovery.
Yeah, a couple bucks go a long way.
And these things pop up a lot, and give as often as you can if you have the means. But Angel specifically, who I've got to know very well over the last 2 years, because me and T2G have wrestled Chocolate Violence over a dozen times over the last 2 years, and then going out and working with him for Skill, which is Southwestern Kansas Independent Lucha Libre, the promotion he runs in Southwest Kansas. Angel is one of the best dudes I have met in this business. Part of the reason he runs that promotion down there is to do events for his community. There's always some kind of fundraiser for the community, or he's got local vendors coming out, being able to sell their stuff. That dude does a ton for his community. One of the nicest guys you could ever meet. So if you do have the means, like they said, it's on all Fountain City stuff. I know I retweeted it earlier, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it there. If you can't find it, tweet me, tweet at Total Spotfest. We'll point you in the right direction.
Hit us up in the comments down below. We'll send you to the right place. I'm gonna go back and edit. I'm gonna put a link in the box below this video on YouTube, and if you're listening to us on Spotify, I'll have the link in the description box there as well too.
And because stuff like that is always a little bit of a downer, in a positive update, I, as well as most HCW roster, has heard from Angel in the last few days. He is back on his phone talking to people. He was out of the hospital. He went back in for some minor complications and stuff. It seems like he's going to be okay, but it's a very long road to recovery. So, but just to bring it back up a little bit, he has not lost his sense of humor. He's already making jokes about it. But yeah, if you can help out, it'd be appreciated.
So we are a community, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
What's up, Clint? Sorry. We just had to get that out. I was like, hey!
Yeah.
Back to our regular
So, okay.
podcast.
So with that being said, like I said, we'll have links down below. Follow along if you need to. Like, we'll get you where we need to go to. And if you are joining us for the first time, subscribe. Hit the little subscribe button down below. Hit the big thumbs up button. Smash it. Act like it's nuts and slap them. Follow us on Twitter, on Blue Sky.
TikTok while it's still there, guys.
While it's still there at Total Spotfest. All right, it is that time. We talked a little wrestling, got a little update here from a beloved community member. I feel like I need to put into my ear holes some knowledge.
I think I know a guy, but I'm going to do you one better. Knowledge is great. Knowledge is power, but sometimes you need something beyond knowledge. Sometimes you need a scorching hot take.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
And
Jimmy's all excited now.
I can let y'all know ahead of time, we are going to be at odds over this. Cuz at the recommendation of my two fellow hosts here, the wife and I sat down and watched NXT New Year's Eve last week.
Okay.
And it was not good.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
Not only not good, it was almost unwatchable. Now,
there's a couple parts, okay?
I will say that is not as much an indictment of the folks in the ring as it is just the production of the show itself. Because it's one person's entrance, commercial break, unrelated video package, other person's entrance, commercial break. 3 minutes a match, commercial break. It was a slog to get through. And because I'm not going to step on Jamie's bit of just being a complete hater, there were some things I enjoyed.
That's not a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm just pulling that out at you.
I feel personally attacked.
I'm never sad about seeing Julia or Stephanie Vaquer, and Obafemi is a star if I've ever seen one.
Oh, absolutely.
Couple high points.
Absolutely.
But after watching 2 hours of what many people, including y'all, were saying was just a phenomenal pro wrestling show, it gave me absolutely zero interest in tuning in again.
If I may, overall, NXT has been very good under the tutelage of one Mr. Shawn Michaels. That doesn't mean that every single week is a home run. All right. Every baseball team plays 162 games out of the year, and they lose about 90 of them on average, right? Or more. So not everyone's a home run. Okay, I will give you that. I think overall, though, you've already hit on some of the bases there. But I'm still a staunch defender of NXT. Much better than the initial Rainbow era NXT, 2.0, whatever the hell they were calling it then, right? I think that they've got a very good overarching group of talent, not just the top few, okay? And their women's division is still deep AF. And you talked about two of them, but they got a bunch that are up and coming real good.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because here's my problem with the NXT women's division. And part of it was the formatting of the show.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I know where he's going to, but go for it.
You start with 3 consecutive women's matches, which there is absolutely no issue at all with putting 3 women's matches on a show. Mm-hmm. But 3 in a row is a bit weird. Like, give me some variety, mix it up. The other problem is 80% of the women I saw on that show seemed like the same lady, with just a different color on. Obviously, we're not talking Stephanie Vaquer or Julia. they are elite tier, world-class pro wrestlers that I would like to see in there with anybody. But I couldn't tell you the name of most of the other women that wrestled on that show because they all seemed interchangeable.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying, and
yeah,
allow me to agree with you and disagree with you all in the same scene. Because as we know, WWE has the WWE way of wrestling. They like everybody has to go back to the performance center to learn the way you're supposed to wrestle in WWE. Well, you have all these brand new talents who have never really done anything outside of this. Like some of them were gymnasts, some of them were models and whatever, right? So they all come through. They're all doing the exact same thing on the exact same machine. So all of them wrestle pretty much the exact same way, except one might have blonde hair, one might have dark hair. Hell, one even has green hair, but at the end of the day, they all wrestle pretty much the exact same. They're very cookie cutter. And to your point, now here's the thing. They are allowing some of these women, not all of them, but some of them, to show more than just the cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So Sol Ruka, that's the first one that comes to my mind when I'm thinking of somebody who's outside of that box. Shotzi, the green-haired one who does wrestle like them, but then she does go crazy, which I absolutely love.
Shotzi doesn't really count, though. Shotzi was a thing before the
WWE
we know
machine.
Shotzi.
Yeah,
Shotzi.
JCJ.
I mean, Roxanne,
Roxy. Yeah.
I think she's kind of outside of it. She got the kiss from Bayley today, yesterday. Like, hey, you're gonna do good things, which I thought was kind of a fun thing there. But like there are some there, but I do 100% agree that 95% of that women's roster is the same person.
And here's my counterpoint to your counterpoint, which you're not wrong, but I don't think the excuse that they go through the W machine holds up, because we saw the black and gold era of NXT where they had a very diverse roster of women that had different gimmicks and different looks and different movesets. They have done that before, and those were not indie darlings that got pushed through the system. A lot of those were largely homegrown or signed with limited indie experience. But you had a variety of characters, and you don't now.
Well, okay, you don't have the variety character. I think you do have. I think it's a little bit more than the dire straits that you're painting here for you. You look at, yes, to everybody's point, yeah, there is some multiplicity going on here, right? But you have, like you said, Sol Ruka, you've got, she's there, so you got to include her. You got Shotzi, you got Roxy, you do have Julia, you do have Sophia Vakur, you got Fallon Henley, who's doing her own sort of thing. Lash Legends got her own kind of, gimmick going on, right? So
it's a terrible name.
I'm not saying it's good name, okay?
Most of the names are terrible in NXT.
A good chunk of the names, men and women, are bad. Yeah, 100%, very bad.
That's not gender exclusive. They're all bad.
No. But that's okay. That's what happens when you're coming up, right? But I think I said I'm a big fan of JCJ. And Thea Hall's another one too. Like Thea Hall's breaks that mold quite a bit, right? And I find her.
I disagree. I disagree that she breaks the mold. She is the mold. The only thing that she's different is she is very facial expression-y compared to any of the other wrestlers, but she is the exact same wrestler.
Well, I'm thinking more of kind of the character work she did with all the Chase U stuff, right? That's what
that's dead and gone now, dude.
Well, now it is.
Floating in the abyss right now.
A lot of them floating in the abyss right now. And then you had, what's her name? Lou, the girl who teamed up briefly with the girl who's doing the sleeping gimmick, right? The Asian chick. Wendy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a fun one because she is different.
That's what I'm saying. So there is some bits there, but
where was she on Tuesday?
But the other, that's the other hand that I'm trying to get at here is that There's a lot. they have a lot to work with, and that's a blessing and a curse all in the same breath. So while yes, you might not have gotten the outstanding one of these episodes that me and Jamie were like, oh my god, did you see this week? Right? There's going to be some drop offs.
Time out. Literally on this show last week, you both said that New Year's Evil was great and I should go watch it.
I think it was
and
great.
I still stand by it. I still think it was solid.
And now, I think if
should they have broken it up? Yes, but it's still a solid ass show.
Still solid show. I think it's, you guys thought it wasn't that great. I think that overall though, NXT is still well worth it, and I will defend that stance until they change it.
Before we move on from NXT though, because I'm glad our man Clint mentioned Ava in the chat.
Oh, we don't.
She is really bad at her job, and I feel bad saying that about that's really bad at talking into the camera.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry. You said
I was
Ava's really
just talking
bad.
About how bad Ava is.
Yes.
Like, I don't think she has no idea what's supposed to be serious, what's not.
We all know
the same way every time.
She's not Adam Pearce, bro.
We know why she's there. Okay, it's no surprise why she's there. Let's just move past that because it's not worth your time to think about it. Because should she be there? No.
But before we move past, and yes, Clint asking the chat, saying in the chat, her time on screen with her dad was atrocious.
Yes,
that was probably the worst part of the night for me. The segment with them in the back, where The Rock's like, "Do you have any advice for my first night on NXT?" Like The Rock hasn't been one of the goated talkers in the business for damn near 3 decades, and his daughter, who's terrible on camera, is gonna coach him up to go out there and throw out his catchphrases. What are we doing here?
We're not looking behind this curtain. With Ava, we're not even approaching that because it's not. Doesn't even. Let's pretend that doesn't exist because.
But to wrap up NXT on a positive note, please give me Obafemi in the Royal Rumble.
He has to be.
I mean,
absolute star.
He's so good. He's so good.
That bounce on his entrance to his music, just the whole package.
I mean, the first time I saw him when he was Raw, right? It was like, oh my god, this guy. You see those people you see when they're like fresh young, right? And you're like, oh my god, that dude's gonna be, or that lady, she's gonna be. He was that way from day one. I was like,
push that dude to the moon.
Him.
That's what you're doing with him is what you do with monsters. That's exactly how you do a monster who's athletic, but he is the genetic freak monster. He is, to me, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley with more charisma.
He's got a smidge in him of pre-smoking giant.
He's
Remember
just cool,
early Giant? Yeah. Man, he's just
cool.
Yeah.
And cool always gets over in pro wrestling. There's just some people that they're just cool. Scott Hall was just cool. Cool just always gets over. There's no way in hell they would do this, but I've been saying for years, we need a Rumble winner that comes out of nowhere that no one expects, that just shoots to the moon, and he would be the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd get behind that so hard.
I would. Yes, please.
Give us Obafemi and Gunther at Mania.
Oh.
In the immortal words of Lonely Island, jizz in my pants.
Dude, my ringtone, my alert tone for text messaging to this day, Clint, is the "Ayo" by Scott Hall.
Ayo.
And because I don't silence my phone at work, because I also gotta know when my manager texts me, right, if I'm on the lot or whatever. Everybody in my dealership now knows that. they'll just yell "Ayo" at me. They don't even know wrestling, right? But
hell yeah,
Scott Hall is universal.
I mean, every now and again, I will go with my girls in softball. I'm like, hey, survey time. I will do it. It's so good. Okay, so your thoughts on NXT aside, You know what is not good? When you go from 4 matches in 3 hours to 5 matches in 3 hours, and you still have the same exact amount of wrestling time on TV.
I mean, it is more matches.
That's bad. I'm sorry, man.
It is more matches. I will give you that.
Yeah. I mean, that street fight at the end was great. I will give them that. That street fight was exactly what I was expecting, and it delivered. But everything else, the backstage segments, the commercial right after a backstage segment to yet another backstage segment, then you have an interview, then you go back to another backstage segment, then you might have a match, then you go into a commercial break. It's like, dude, okay. I get it.
Okay, so you guys know my opinion on this hardcore, but they got. What do they need to get rid of 3 hours? They are no longer bound by regular TV, run times. 2.5 hours, 2 hours. What do they need to get rid of?
2.5 hours this past one. I will say that it was 2.5 hours.
Right, but I just think go back to 2 hours. Go back to 2 hours. If you're going to do this few matches, this few wrestling, go back to 2 hours.
That's like, I don't think it's a length of show issue. It's a content of show issue.
Well,
throw more matches out there.
You know they're not going to do that. That's not part of their formula. They won't do that.
Silly. It's a pro wrestling show. It doesn't have to be wall-to-wall matches. It's
not pro wrestling anymore,
This is a wrestling entertainment show.
It's not pro wrestling anymore. It is. You're absolutely right. It is sports entertainment. Vince might be dead and gone there, but he still lives on with how they do things.
And for what it's worth, they print money, so how can they not?
If you're going to be sports entertainment, can you make the entertainment more entertaining? Like, we don't need people cutting the same promo.
Yep.
Every 15 minutes because it never changes.
Well, how about we turn the narrative briefly? What are you guys' thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts on Penta's WWE debut?
That was the only part of Raw I watched, so I enjoyed Raw this week. I saw that match and his promo afterwards, and then I went about my life. So I enjoyed my offering of WWE this week because I got to see Penta, and Penta's debut was rad.
I will never not like a Penta match. I don't think it's in my DNA, Jamie. We all agreed that it was the perfect, first opponent for him. My God, the sell of that Canadian Destroyer, which they're calling the Mexican Destroyer, which, okay.
It's just a destroyer nowadays.
Yeah, it's just a destroyer, whatever. But the sell of that by Gable was amazing. I love how they had the subtitles for his promo. I don't know why. Just a little thing. I loved that. I thought it was great.
So, allow me to just be a little angry.
Okay.
Since I have the bit of being the hater. So last week we were very much, we are not tribalistic. We are not. But there's one thing that Jamie really loves doing, and that's calling out people on their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just makes me so happy and full of life. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody who said Penta sucks, all he does is flippy, spinny shit and all this stuff, and then now he's magically a part of that company that you love so much versus the one you hate so much, and now he's the greatest thing that's ever happened. He's going to be the greatest Mexican star of all time. I got 2 words for you. Fuck you. Okay? Because your tribalistic bullshit is why the internet wrestling community sucks so hard. Why can't we just say, hey, he's a great wrestler. Oh, he's going there. Oh, guess what? He's still a great fucking wrestler. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, it just drives me so fucking insane. This tribalistic like bullshit of he sucks because he's in AEW, or he's gonna suck because he's going to AEW. No. Who gives a shit? It's fucking wrestling. He was a good wrestler in A. He's gonna be a good wrestler in B because he's a good fucking wrestler. Sorry.
His best singles match ever was when he fought Io Shirai in Lucha Underground.
WWE people don't think that exists. At least
they mentioned Lucha
too.
Underground on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's canon now.
It is canon.
They have acknowledged it. If you have not watched that match, go watch that, but brace yourself because there's some borderline disturbing moments with a pile of wooden chairs multiple times in that match. But don't worry, the end result make you feel better for putting your eyes through the semi-assault.
I'm just saying, since they actually acknowledged Lucha Underground on Raw, that makes a non-zero chance that at some point in the future we're going to get Penta versus Chelsea Green.
Oh yeah, please, that'd be hilarious. Chelsea Green. I love Chelsea Green, but
Chelsea Green is fantastic.
And yes, I'm cussing because I'm passionate about this stupidity of the internet wrestling community. I'm sorry. The tribalistic sides, both sides. Like the AEW homers and the WWE homers, like it's okay just to enjoy wrestling. Just enjoy it.
I enjoyed that. As everybody knows, it's hard for me not to enjoy a Penta match.
I love Piper Niven.
Piper
no, do you? But Penta was great, and his entrance was cool as hell.
The women's
He's
IC
just got it.
The women's IC title, that was great too, I thought.
Yeah, Valkyria won. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I mean, it was a good match. Like the matches were decent.
Since Chelsea Green was mentioned, here's something I want to throw at y'all because it's been brought up on the internet over the last week. Would y'all pop if Matt Cardona showed up in the Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Of course I would.
I love Matt Cardona.
And show up as Matt Cardona.
Yeah. I think he would get one of the biggest pops of the night.
Absolutely. Absolutely he would. And yeah, Clinton on board too. There we go.
Let Cardona rumble.
Yes, he's always ready. But I wouldn't even mind if he came back as Zack Ryder with the radio song. Like that would just be I'd probably pop harder for that.
Like the self-aware Zack, right? He knows what this old character was, but he's Matt Cardona, but maybe just the name of Zack. Okay, I'm with you.
Like I think that would just be great. Like I'm a big Matt Cardona guy.
I'd pop hard for it.
I have a signature. It will be on my wall at some point, probably next week.
I'd pop hard for that. I'd pop hard if Aleister Black showed up.
He might be. It's end of this month, so.
Was it end of this month? That's gotta get close. Who knows? Anywho, you know what? But I'm an easy one to pop, and it's not just this American promotions that pop JJ a little bit. Okay, hey, anybody watches this show know JJ's got some proclivities of wrestling that he likes to see, and one of them sort of came true over the weekend. So, coming off of Wrestle Kingdom. There was a match made for Stardom's event. It was going to be for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, Athena versus Thekla. And yes, it was as good as JJ was hoping it would be. Go watch it.
He popped hard. Like 3 to 4 times he popped.
At minimum. And
I got nothing out of Austin on that one. That was a solid joke too.
It was a really good match. I don't know what this means for the future of, there's a possibility, but the fact that Thekla wrestled the Ring of Honor Women's Champion leaves the door open. JB you had a take that I do want to get to on this because Thekla did not win it. She's not the new Ring of Honor champion, although I would love to see that. Clint actually watched AEW. We're gonna get there in just a minute.
Holy crap!
Jamie,
let's go.
So Jamie told me earlier. He said the problem is that Athena just never loses. And I said
Never
to
loses.
I love Thekla.
Okay.
Everybody that watches the show knows how much I love Thekla, but I love Athena too. Athena never puts on a bad match, but Jamie's like she also never loses.
Doesn't put anybody over. She's the Hulk Hogan of Ring of Honor.
Oh,
she might as well just come out to
Real American.
Real American, fight for the rights of every man. Come
Austin,
on,
save us from this, please,
dude. If she came out to that would be, I would die.
So I don't think there's a problem with Athena never losing, because if you never lose, but no one's watching Ring of Honor anyway, does it really matter?
I mean, this was a Stardom event. So this probably had more eyes on it than any of our other.
I mean, are you comparing it to if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it? Does it make a
I
sound?
think he totally.
Is that what you just did?
He 100% pulled that out.
Until that 4-way at Wrestle Dynasty, where commentary mentioned she hadn't lost or been pinned in 2 years, I had no idea.
I did.
Like, I don't think it hurts for her to win these big matches when they show up, because no one knows what's happening in between because it's on Ring of Honor, which begs the bigger question: why have we not seen Athena in AEW proper?
Oh, we have a little bit.
No, we haven't.
She's been in a couple. When she first came in, she was on a couple Dynamites.
Then she's been on Ring of Honor since she's been the Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Oh yeah,
we have not seen her on Dynamite.
No,
2 years.
We haven't.
2 years. In that 2 years, she's beaten Heidi Howitzer in her hometown of Wichita, Kansas. You know, she's beaten Billy Starks like 18-something times. Won't put her over. You know, she's beaten everybody. Mercedes Martinez, Diamante, Abaddon. Like, she just runs through everybody. And it's like, dude, if you're just going to be there to bury talent, I'm just going to start calling you Athena Hogan.
Is that her or is that Tony Khan?
Both, I bet.
It makes you wonder, and this is just wild speculation, but it makes you wonder if there's a reason she's not on AEW proper.
I would offer up a trade, though. I would trade her.
This is the company that has trotted Anna Jay out for title matches for both women's titles in the last few months. That, granted, the women's division has picked up over the last year, but that still gives you an entire year where she was in Ring of Honor and you had a bunch of injuries. You hadn't had the Willow breakout yet. You hadn't had Mercedes come over. You hadn't had the revelation of Toni Storm, even though Toni was there and Toni's always good. It just makes you wonder. They certainly could have used her at times. So why aren't they?
It's a good question.
But I'm willing to offer up a trade. Would you guys accept this trade? Straight up. Easy peasy. You bring over Athena into AEW, and we will give you Britt Baker.
Oh, yeah. Already done.
Like send Britt Baker to ROH?
Yes.
I mean, she's just like not on wrestling at all. That's like below ROH. Barely, but below ROH.
I know.
No, although I think Britt Baker's filming a movie or something. I think I heard that, or has been recently. But yeah, absolutely. Let me throw this out at y'all, because I think we would all agree this would be a perfectly great way to go.
Okay.
Athena takes the TBS title off Mercedes Moné.
Ooh.
That's a good
two people who don't lose. That's hilarious.
I mean, if that was the long slow play, you'll get a standing ovation from me if that happens on this show immediately after it happens, 100%. Because if that, I get what you I get what you're spinning there, and I'm like, if that was indeed the long slow play, okay, slow clap from me, 100%.
I don't think I mean, I'm for it. I just don't think she's the one though.
I mean, I don't think she will be, but I think she very well could be, and it would be good TV.
I think there's two candidates now. I think there's 2 official candidates after Dynamite.
All right, well, let's get into Dynamite then so we can get into it.
All right. You want to talk Dynamite?
Let's talk a little Dynamite.
Dynamite!
So, I want to start off with this is the first show in their new found intimate setting shows. This is their first one in the smaller venue. And gentlemen, I want your thoughts on this because I loved it.
I think overall, I really liked it. I think naturally being the first, they got a couple little things to iron out, some things. I didn't like how the commentators were straight off the camera angle. Okay.
I like
See, personally, I like having them off to the side. That's just me. But regardless, I thought overall, I love the idea. I think this is better. I think it's a better presentation. I think it gives it that, especially when you saw at the end Moxie walking into the arena, the theater, right? I think it gives it that it gives it kind of that throwback indie feel, right? Because this is supposed to be the mainstream indie. That was what they were originally built up as, right? Place for all the indie people to live. Yeah. So now you've got like a more indie feel to it. So I do like this concept. I think it's just, first one out, you're going to feel some stuff out for the first few weeks, but they'll iron it out, I think. I've never been a fan of Ramp to the Ring either personally, but that's venue dependent.
I would like to state for the record that both Clint in the chat and JJ are dead to me, because if I am anything, I'm a Ramp to the Ring guy. I love the Ramp to the Ring.
You love the Ramp to the Ring?
I love the Ramp to the Ring.
I am also in that camp.
Uncultured swine, the lot of you. Ramp to the Ring is the superior entrance setup in any venue.
I agree.
He agreed with you, is what he said.
I'm with you.
Well, I'll find another reason to hate you.
There's only one way we can solve this. We need a poll in chat, Jamie. Put that poll up in chat.
Okay.
I love Ramp to the Ring. It gives you creative spots, and it just looks big time.
Okay, what do you think about about JB's original question about the new production venue mindset? What do you think? How they achieved it tonight?
I thought Dynamite looked great tonight. I thought the smaller venue, it gave it a different aesthetic. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like WWE Light, which I'm not saying it always has, or like that's a concern for it, but it makes it look notably different.
Yes.
Which difference always good. But yeah, I think having the tighter space allows them to shoot the show a little bit differently as well. And yeah, it was an improvement over the way Dynamite was set up for most of the last few years.
I mean, everybody can agree that half an arena is not good, and a third of an arena is just not a good look, right? So, I'm for it.
Yeah, I felt like the crowd was a little bit more involved because it is closer. Like, there's just lots of good things. Also, I love the fact that there's no static cam now. Like it was.
I'm with you.
I like that. WWE's went to that, and I am a fan. I don't like the hard cam. I think, they do always set it up in the same spot for everybody's intros, but after that, it's like it moves, and I think that's the way it needs to go. There is a poll out there, so ladies and gentlemen, we will compile the answers at the end of tonight. But yes, are you a fan of the Ramp to the Ring? You have hell yeah, or that doesn't work for me, brother. So,
bro, if it was up to me, you don't even need a ring. Just give me the ramp.
Right? So okay. I feel like it makes a ton of sense for us to start the way the show started, but after that we are going to jump around. Okay. because it opened with, by God, Kenny Omega. His first match in over a year on AEW television.
13 months.
And so I get what you were saying about how that music feels like it needs to be pay-per-view music. But now knowing that it's composed by the same guy who composed the music for Final Fantasy 13, 14, and 15,
Which is not surprising.
and the remake of Final Fantasy 7, I'm pro. I want it on my TV screen at all times now. Just because I am a Final Fantasy mark, and that's just that. Still haven't played one fucking ounce of Rebirth, but hey,
the game is probably going to take you the most hours, and especially if you want to complete that. I've heard 4-digit hour totals for some people to plat that thing. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I've decided I'm not even gonna try platinum. Dude, because it's gonna be like 4 playthroughs.
It's
full playthroughs,
and it's so much.
Nah.
But I mean, I totally get it. And for Kenny Omega, because he is the one person that we are aware of who is a bigger Final Fantasy nerd than Jamie. Okay, and I'm sorry, Jamie, he beat you. I understand that. I still don't like it for his regular entrance music.
It's too epic for regular TV.
Yes.
But he is epic.
He is, but I mean, and I understand if you don't want to do the same cleaner music you did when you left, right? Even though that's the perfect theme song for you, in my opinion, right? Best Bout Machine was the perfect theme song. I get that. There's got to be a different medium there, and I just don't feel like it fits for episodic TV. It's got more luster if that is your pay-per-view thing, right? You pull it out like the King of Kings, right? That's just me.
That's something I'd like to see more of in pro wrestling in general. Is like a few top guys have a special theme for big matches.
Yeah. I mean, Danielson did that. Like, part of it was a naming right thing, but they pulled out Final Countdown for specific things and his final run, but it was literally just a couple things.
Yeah. But if he would have been coming out to Final Countdown every single week, it wouldn't have hit as hard as it did at Wembley walking out there to win the AEW title.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But this song is epic because he is the wrestling god. He's going by the wrestling god motif right now. So I feel like it fits who he's trying to be, and everything that they're doing with him and the aerial assassin, which the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I feel like that's go ahead. Do what?
But enemy of my enemy is my friend. Question mark.
Oh, bro. They're going to be a tag team together.
They are, but they're also making this very uneasy sort of alliance thing. And a lot of that is kudos to Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. We know this. But
you're saying.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That I don't like him. And he doesn't like me. But we both don't like them. So we need to come together and form an alliance, and we're going to call ourselves the Mega Powers. That's what you're saying.
I would actually lose my shit if they actually pulled off a Mega Powers or like a.
If they did the Mega Powers handshake,
guys,
I would lose.
Omega Powers is right there.
Exactly. The Omega Power. Okay, all right.
Yes.
I'm 100% on board with that. But regarding the uneasy alliance, I go back to my thoughts about it last week. If there was ever a babyface in pro wrestling where you walked up and were like, hey, you want to help me beat up these bad guys? No questions asked. It would be Will Ospreay.
100%.
So,
yeah.
What'd you guys think of the match?
I think the match was fine. I think I have not dipped on Brian Cage. I've long liked Brian Cage, And even though he got a lot of dog rolls in AEW over his time, right? I still defender of Brian Cage because he always goes out there and puts on a good performance, right? I've staunchly defended that against at least one of us on this dais here.
Omega powers.
So I thought it was good to go. I enjoyed it. I like the fact they're kind of going at the Don Callis family for his intro angle, right? Makes sense. It's easy, but it doesn't feel like it's lazy, even though it kind of is, right? So I was good with it. I thought the match was fine. I thought it was good. It wasn't too complicated for Omega, and it also wasn't believable. Both guys can work, so yeah, I enjoyed it. Good way to start the show.
Yeah, like Brian Cage is a guy you can throw out there against anybody to have a solid match. Not that Kenny Omega isn't, because Kenny Omega is really good at pro wrestling. It was a great match for Kenny's first match back on TV. I really appreciate that Brian Cage has gone to the just plain black trunks. He looks more serious now.
Is it the full beard and the full head of hair?
Yeah. I think for the longest time, Brian Cage looked like he was trying too hard to look cool, and he just looked kind of dorky, which is a feat to make a guy that jacked who can move like that just look like a big old dork. But for the longest time, he just kind of did. Which is unfortunate because Brian Cage can absolutely go with the best of them in the ring.
In real life, he actually is a kind of a dork. He used to be that big muscle man. Used to be a Southern California skater punk.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
But like when you're that jacked, you can't look like a big old dork, which he doesn't anymore. And I have always wanted to like Brian Cage. Mm-hmm. But for the longest time, every time he was out there, it was just like, come on, man. You just look silly.
So I really enjoyed this match. I enjoyed afterwards with the entire family coming out there. I loved the showdown between Takeshita and Omega. I thought that got me revving really hard. But I could definitely see here probably at Grand Slam, a tag team match of Takeshita and I don't know, Ospreay Jr. Those two going up against Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. I think that makes a lot of sense for Grand Slam. It's already selling like hotcakes ticket wise, but you throw that match on there and you have an Aussie on the show. And obviously, I feel like the heels would have to go over in that one, but I feel like that makes a lot of sense there. Or maybe even go to a Fatal 4-Way. I don't know after that. What do you guys think?
I don't think you move a Fatal 4-Way. I think, Fernando in chat. Hey, Fernando, he puts up a good point too. Ospreay or Omega should be the one to take down Moxley. I think they're going to be involved eventually in the title picture, but I think here's the thing is like you got a lot of cards you're playing with that there. Either one of them can be your top face, right? But you don't need to make that decision quite yet, right? And I think that if you want to build that up more, that's probably a long-term goal for sure.
I think by Revolution, not before, but at Revolution, Kenny Omega needs to take that title off Moxley.
So we talked about this. Was it 2 weeks ago or last week? I don't remember.
I think it was post. It was post Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, and we're like, since he's back
last week. Yeah,
he's the savior of AEW. Like I am wholeheartedly like Omega equals ratings. Put the belt on him. Put the belt on him.
We'll get to the Death Riders in due time on the show.
Maybe we can just go there now.
If they weren't, well, before we go there, I do have a question I want to throw at y'all about this match.
Okay.
Before we get to the Death Riders, they're clearly building up to Mox and Cope for a Grand Slam, which is still about a month out.
Yeah,
exactly a month.
I would say put the title on Omega at Grand Slam, do a reset with your main event scene, but we'll get into that later. They're just clearly not going there. So I think Revolution, it's time to pull that. But going back to this match, this was largely a 50-50 match between Brian Cage and Kenny Omega. And if you listen to the nerds on the internet, that has been one complaint people have about AEW is their top guys like Ospreay, not Omega in the last year because he's been out, but going out there and have competitive matches with guys that aren't necessarily top guys. How do y'all feel about Kenny Omega going out there and having a 50-50 match with Brian Cage in his first match back?
I have no problem with that. I think on the face of things, Kenny Omega, Brian Cage, right? You think, oh, Kenny Omega should be much more. But I think when you sew in some of the extra, nuance that goes around Kenny Omega right now, coming back, they're still doing this whole like diverticulitis post, thing, which it's a real thing, right? But there's this and that, right? It leads into that nuance of how a match that maybe should be 70-30 is a 50-50 match. Okay. I kind of get their argument, the people that might be complaining about that. I don't know. I enjoy just a good wrestling match. So maybe my proclivity is just more towards 50-50 in general in a match. I don't know, Jamie. What do you think?
So I'm a professional wrestling fan. Okay. Professional wrestling for me is good matches. And a squash match can be a good match if it's done tastefully, right? But I like the idea that you have your main guys, but you have other guys who realistically could beat them. So you want to build that story. Brian Cage is a big mother, okay? That's a big dude. I personally think, like, if you got them legit in a ring, I feel like Brian Cage possibly could win, like, legit if he was a top guy too. So, like, I like that on any given day, anybody can beat anybody. That was one of the backbone things that AEW did in the very beginning. You saw Private Party beat the Young Bucks. They're the Young Bucks, like, out of nowhere, like, I love that idea. Is it starting to run its course for AEW? Maybe a little bit, but it should still be real like that. Like the perfect example. The person I shit on the absolute most when it comes to AEW is Darby Allin, right?
No.
And it is because I'm a professional wrestling fan. I don't like watching somebody get the shit kicked out of them for 95% of the match and find some way to win at the end. That's not for me. That doesn't work for me, brother. It is more that back and forth seesaw. You don't know who's going to win. Like, I don't know how many times in AEW is like, oh my God, they're going to let this guy win. That's going to be so awesome. That's great. Like, it makes for good TV. And I think I love it. I am 100% a huge fan of it.
And that's why I bring that. Go ahead, JJ.
No, I was just going to say real fast here, but they haven't 100% been that way with everybody, right? They've had swerve matches. They had just a little bit ago, they had Bobby Lashley totally just annihilated Swerve, right? On the other way. But they've had some Swerve matches that went, where it was very heavily in his favor. Orange Cassidy, same thing in the opposite direction, right? So they haven't been completely, everything is a straight coin flip. So there is definitely that. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so that's why I bring that up, because to me, pro wrestling is much better when the vast majority of your roster seems capable of going out there and beating a lot of people on the roster.
Yeah.
I feel like from the Attitude Era through modern WWE, we kind of got conditioned to that. You've got your top guys. Anyone less than that ain't lasting 6 minutes with them. Like, they stopped bringing in enhancement talent, and then 70% of the roster were just there to lay down every single week. I thoroughly enjoy that when you get a Kenny Omega versus Brian Cage, it's not just Kenny Omega playing his hits and winning in 6 minutes. I think it makes your entire roster look better. And it reminds me of kind of back into my favorite era, the mid-90s, when you had babyface champion Shawn Michaels in 96 going out there in a random Raw, having an 18-minute match with Leaf Cassidy, of all people, and Leaf Cassidy taking 60% of the offense because your babyface needs to get put underneath for a while, because that's classic pro wrestling. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. I think it adds to the product, and it makes most of your roster look a lot better than having most of them just be losers.
Couldn't agree more, because it makes the pushes more real too, man. Like, hey, we're gonna finally push this guy. Okay, he's been having great matches. It's realistic. Instead of he's just been getting buried for the past 4 months, and we're gonna push him. You know, it's not like Wardlow. Like,
that's referred to as the Jinder Mahal title run.
It's like, hey, the Jinder Mahal one, unfortunately, is like, hey, we're going to India. Let's throw it on him. You know, like, I understand. It was the most racist thing.
Hey, Bob, do we have any Indians around here? No. The red dots. Yeah, give it to him.
Dude,
okay.
Yeah. Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon, hard at work on that deal. Because Jinder actually can wrestle, but whatever. All right, so why don't we go ahead, because I feel like this is a great tie-in to go right into that main event, because Fernando hit the nail right on the head there.
Segue.
The Death Rider for sure. Gentlemen, what'd you think of the main?
It was about what I expected, which was a little bit of some shenanigans. Right? Little John Moxley bleeding. Powerhouse has some good looking moments. Wheeler Yuta. I want to just take a second and just talk about young Mr. Yuta. I absolutely love how they're making Wheeler into just a absolute heel by barely having him out there. He's the guy that comes out of nowhere with the Busaiku knee that's going to be the determining factor, and everybody hates him for it. And I love that.
Less is more with him. I agree.
Oh, but other than that, I mean, it's about what I expected in the match. Austin, what do you think?
I'm in the same boat. It's exactly what you knew you were going to get. I did catch Collision over the weekend, and they did a good job of heating Hobbs up really quick. Not that Hobbs wasn't already pretty over. I mean, what's not to like? Powerhouse Hobbs is just rad. But this is why when we were talking about the last match, I mentioned they need to just put that belt on Omega and refresh the title picture. The Death Rider storyline, we talked about it at some length last week.
We did.
This has become Britt Baker's title reign all over again. The henchmen interfere, and she retains the title. The henchmen interfere, Mox retains the title. And the worst part to me was post-match, because they start beating up Hobbs. Cope's music hits, which is so weird to call him Cope, but that's what they're going with. All right. Cope and FTR storm the ring, and the Death Riders leave. There are still more of you in the ring than guys coming down the ramp, and they've got to come through the ropes. Them just bailing every time people show up now is such a departure from what this started as. Yeah. This has completely gone off the rails.
It has no business being in the world title. Yeah, Clint has a question for you too there, Austin.
With the bloody ear?
Ask about the bloody ear. Yeah, like the whole gimmick was they were saying Hobbs bit the earring off of his ear.
Correct.
Like
which in itself is kind of a cool and unique thing, but when it's buried in a storyline, no one really gives a shit about it anymore. It loses some luster.
Yeah, I mean, it looked cool. Like it looked. Like,
there was a good amount of blood.
I never knew an ear could bleed that much. I'm not even lying.
Tommy Dreamer was the innovator of violence. John Moxley is the innovator of bleeding. He's just always going to find new ways to spill blood. That's the worst part about this Death Riders thing. I genuinely like Mox. I want to see Mox on my TV every week, just not doing this.
I like all of them in the Death Riders, Jamie. And I don't think this title is, like we talked about, needed for their storyline the way it's gone.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think so. I like the Death Riders. I do. I like them as a group. Like, I think we've all said this and we've pontificated on it enough. But I will say this. They don't need the belt. That's the number one thing. They don't need it. They are a force without it. They are a solid faction without it. Now, Cope coming with FTR and hopefully one Miss Beth Phoenix, here in a little bit. I think that would be pretty rad. But I don't think Cope's the one to take it off of him. I think if anything, Christian comes out like we talked about, makes it a 3-way, still loses. And then you do the meteoric rise of one Mr. Kenny Omega, or hell, even an unhinged Adam Hangman Page would be better than what we're getting right now. And I love me some Hanger right now. I love Hanger's whole thing.
You'd have the inevitable Hangman versus Omega for the title again.
Take two? Oh, come on now.
Yeah, run that back. Let's go.
In reverse though, like one's the other one's the heel. Oh, dude, yeah, that'd be great. Did anybody catch his promo on Collision? Did you guys catch Hanger? Oh my!
I missed it.
Yes, like he talked about why he is the way he is, and like I loved it because even right now, Swerve's nowhere in his orbit, but Swerve's living rent free right here, dude. I'm telling you, I love the callback.
That is their rock stone cold. I mean, it is they're just gonna pluck it out whenever they need to. It's always up there. It's fucking perfect. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good.
I am absolutely hyped for Hanger and Christopher Daniels in a Texas death match on Collision this weekend.
Same.
And also because it got announced tonight. I'm sure we might have got it at one point, but we might as well just mention it here. Okada and Ishii for the Continental title on Saturday as well. Should be just a grand old time.
Yeah, and I love that you had face Okada like trying to hold out his hand, and it's like, oh, you want a chance of this title, bitch? It's like, yeah.
I mean, they're definitely trying to make Collision, get the hits. We're gonna talk about that in a second here. You're half right on that. Okay.
No, he's 100% right.
Okay. Kayfabe 100% right. Shoot half right. Okay.
Yes. So to put a bow on the Death Riders, great match. I thought Will Hobbs looked like $1 million. For a second there, I thought, are they gonna do the unbelievable and actually do it? And I was like, oh no,
yeah, I never.
No,
they already announced that Moxley's teaming up with Jericho the next night when they shoot Collision.
Did you see that? Like in the bluegrass state.
And then you had Brian Keith just go, whoa.
So I love the dynamic.
Come in, motherfucker.
Over the top happy people, and then Brian Keith is this angry asshole, and I'm just here for it.
So good.
And just little bits of Jericho are fine like this, right? Just little bits.
I identify with Brian Keith.
Of course you do.
Well, while we're briefly on Jericho, did y'all see any of Jericho and Dax Harwood from Collision?
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. I missed Collision entirely. I did not follow up with it. So
it was good up until that match, which was the main event.
Oh, which makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, the show was good until it wasn't.
It was rough. But Collision did open with Cope and Big Bill in a phenomenal match. Probably Cope's best match since he's been in AEW.
Oh, that's good.
And that's a bold statement because his match versus Christian was amazing.
Yeah.
The second one.
It's apples to oranges, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's
gimmick match.
Pull that out of whatever. It's
But Cope and Big Bill opened up Collision, which is a phenomenal, just pro wrestling match. Because Big Bill's the best.
All right, so Clint asked about. I feel we gotta go talk about Christian versus Hook next.
Yeah, I mean that makes the most sense because this was the match that I actually almost fell asleep during. Not even kidding.
Hook is legit Taz's son.
Yes.
Christian has adopted Nick Wayne basically as his son in the story.
So I know you're new to this, Clint. So Christian Cage is the patriarch. He is our father. So this is the gentleman that was literally 3 feet away from us when they were in Kansas City. He was literally just right there. I could have touched him and probably been arrested.
Me and Austin are still featured on promos.
Yes.
So
yes.
Show him that shot. Still using it on TV.
Still using it on TV.
But he is our father. He is the patriarch. Nick Wayne is his adoptive adoptive son, but it's his not his protege, but his progeny. Progeny. Thank you. So then you have that with Kip Sabian, which I love Kip and I love what they're doing with him right now. And then you have Mother Wayne, which is the wife, or not the wife, the real mother of Nick Wayne.
Yeah.
And we were shocked to find how tall she actually was when she was standing there.
Yeah.
She's a whole lot of woman.
She's built like a brick shit house.
That's not negative. But yeah, so this match happened, and I mean the big thing for me out of this match, because I could care less about this match, other than the fact that we got Samoa Joe back, baby.
Right. Taz stands up afterwards, and it's like, oh God, don't get in the ring, Taz. I mean, but return of Samoa Joe, and all is right in the world.
With the AEW World Title picture where it is.
He was very carefully thinking of that, intro there.
with the world title picture where it currently stands, and Christian holding on to his beat up clipboard that guarantees him a title shot whenever he wants it. I would be perfectly fine with him going to cash in sometime soon and Samoa Joe just coming out and beating the shit out of him. And we just kind of tie that end up and just kind of move on to other things.
Because
why
not? That's what Joe does.
It's time to clear those things up and just move into the Kenny Omega era. And I have stated on the show before, I'm not a big Kenny Omega guy. I recognize the talent. He's not someone that does a lot for me, but I think it's time. That's got to be your guy. And so let's clean up these other loose ends. Let's have Samoa Joe. I would actually like to see Samoa Joe just beat up Christian and just take that thing and throw it in the trash. And then they just never bring it up again. Like, I would be fine with that at this point. And I love Christian, but let's clean up the world title picture.
And that could be a thing you pull out like in 2 years randomly for a completely different storyline. Someone's like, look what I found. Yes.
I just like it better than the Sonic ring.
Yeah, the ring was not great.
The Sonic ring was not great.
Ring. The literal brass ring. Like, dude, it looked like ding.
I feel like they got that on Christian and then a month later pivoted to Mox taking the title in the Death Riders thing, and they've been trying to keep it involved, but I think we've kind of moved on between that being necessary or even having a particularly good payoff. So let's wrap that up. Or just make Christian the world champion. I would also be okay with that. I love Christian.
Speaking of wrapping things up, I'm already kind of feeling that way about Ricochet and Swerve.
Well, I feel like they might be wrapping it up in a couple weeks. So they announced that that's going to be on the Atlanta show they're doing on the 5th of February. Okay, cool. Good. Right? I don't know. This whole segment started with such hope for me. It came out. I like the way that Ricochet, a guy who we have all famously said, don't open your mouth. You're not good at it, right? How he played the whole crowd, this like victim card. Then he goes like, well, fine, screw you, right? And then he goes into bad promo. I was like, I like this. I like the swerve that Swerve did with Nana coming out and doing that. But then at that point, it was like, okay, all right, yeah, I am with you. I loved what they did with Ricochet. I feel like they should have done even more of a less is more with him tonight, though. That's the problem, because he didn't say shit to the crowd when he attacked Swerve. Sometimes you swing and you miss. I don't know.
I like what Ricochet's been doing recently. I think
general, yeah.
doing this little segment to set up a match 3 weeks from now is a little bit too long of a time to wait for that match. Can we not get this next week? I also think with Ricochet's current character, which I am thoroughly enjoying, I think it's a good time to bring back Stokely Hathaway. I think them together would be money.
I still think Bound for Hurt Syndicate, Jamie.
No, I love the Stokely Hathaway idea. I mean, I do like the serial killer vibe that Ricochet is giving, though. Like, it's the glasses, dude. It's no offense, Austin.
we all have glasses.
Like when he wears them, he looks like a serial killer. Like I mean, I'm here for it because obviously the horror.
And he could do weird facial expressions. We'll go with it too. So I'm with you.
Yeah, but I don't think he's bound for the Hurt Syndicate. If anything, I almost feel like the Hurt Syndicate's on the verge of a face turn. Like, I would be in on them being faces, like standing up against the Death Riders here in a little bit. Okay. But I mean, we're going to talk about their match in a minute, and I just seeing MVP wrestle again and everybody not forgetting about MVP was huge for me. Like, as much as I used to hate his finisher, I used to love him as a wrestler, like his whole blow up thing and everything. Ballin'! Yeah, like, dude. But anyway, so on this whole deal, Stokely Hathaway, I do like that take. That is a great take that was not even on my radar, sir. And I gotta give you all the props in the world on that one, because that makes a lot of sense.
I think he fits in so well with Ricochet's new character. It would be money, and then Ricochet can do a little less talking, which he's never going to be a great promo, but the last few weeks he's been entertaining when he's been on the mic, when he's had like a specific direction and not as much to say. I think it lets you kind of flesh out his mic time a little bit more with someone who is a phenomenal talker. Yeah. And current Ricochet and Stokely just seem made for each other.
Yes. Yeah, Stokely on my TV.
And you could even bring in Stokely as Ricochet's counter to Swerve's Prince Nana.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, that's a good way to keep it going and keep it fresh. So if you're gonna stick with this for a little bit, yeah, okay, I'm good with that.
I'm great with that. So why don't we just go ahead and go right into the Hurt Syndicate going up against Private Party and just throwing in Mark Briscoe.
This was a match.
This match went exactly as expected, 100%. Private Party looked like babies compared to these gentlemen. And I am here to say, on record, I think for the third time now, Shelton Benjamin's super kick might be the best in the biz.
Yeah.
This is a man who is a textbook definition of a stan to Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. Just saying.
I mean, he's not active anymore. But his was so pretty.
Okay.
His was the prettiest. So his was the prettiest. You gotta admit, the Sweet Chin Music was the prettiest.
You're
super
going
kick
with
of all time.
Current act. Okay. Okay.
But no, it's different. His was the prettiest.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
This one is by far the most lethal looking. Like, it looks like it hurts like a sumbitch. You know what I mean? His is just the nastiest.
Well, I like the fact that you're actually getting Shelton Benjamin. Just go out there and just kill people, Shelton Benjamin. Right? Don't hold back, Shelton.
The Golden
Benjamin.
Standard or whatever they're calling him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Hurt Syndicate. I think the only problem And it's not even necessarily a problem with them. It's as you just mentioned, maybe they turn face and then go after the Death Riders. But right now, you just kind of have two heel groups that are just running out there and beat people up all the time.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the Hurt Syndicate are doing it better, for being honest.
They are. But I mean
yeah. I mean, there's not much else to say to that.
Honestly, if there's actually three of them, because you have the Don Callis family too. That's just a bunch of heels that go out and beat people up.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the role of a heel faction. I mean,
yeah,
they
but
have too many heel factions right now.
Yeah, you can change it up, and you can do different things with different heel factions. And the Don Callis family is slightly different because you have Don Callis there. But yeah, Hurt Syndicate and Death Riders, they just show up and beat people up. Like, give us some more to separate those or turn them against each other.
I would love that. But you know what? Before I get into what we really want to talk about, Mercedes Moné had a quick little video package about how she's, Mercedes 4 belts, and money changes everything. I do like her tagline now. I do like the catchphrase for her. I think that just fits. But I want to put a pin in her because I think there are two people that are legitimate contenders to take that belt off of her.
Okay.
And I'm going to take that pin out when we go over the women's match, which we're ending with the women, men, because they deserve it. But before that, might as well talk about the other big thing, and that was one promo between one MJF and Jeff Jarrett. And gentlemen, this is round 2 of this promo, and I believe that this was better than the first one, first off. And then secondly, Jeff Jarrett made a really good point that is MJF like Jeff Jarrett or is he not?
How dare you even compare them? That's my response to that.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
He's not,
wow.
and on his best day, he'll never be Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, all right.
So you're saying I'm not going to be your baby tonight?
No. Not with that attitude, you won't.
Wow.
One, Jeff Jarrett, if we go back to early Jeff Jarrett, if you are not familiar, go watch some 1993 USWA babyface Jeff Jarrett.
Ooh.
Absolute phenomenal, fiery babyface, super over. Then you get to the mid-90s, heel, strappy suspender get-ups Jeff Jarrett. One of the greatest heels of all time. One of the greatest heel characters of all time. And then you get decades down the road because late stage WCW and a lot of the TNA just didn't happen. And now you get revered pro wrestling legend Jeff Jarrett.
You can't just okay. All right, sir. I'm gonna have to mediate between you two here, okay? Because
I haven't even started yet.
Unlike I know, but I'm just hopping in the middle of this here for a second because I do need to bring it back. You can't be a revered legend just by a couple decades of nothingness happening and then boom, you're a legend, right?
Jeff
don't
gloss. Maybe you
don't. First of all, go back is worth your time, and I can't wait till TNA comes available on somebody's catalog so you can check it out. The stuff he did in TNA, his company he founded, right? Well, his family was great stuff, right? Yes, he put himself as the top heel / babyface for 5 years, but it was very good work and kept him relevant going into the kind of legend status you talk about. I just want to insert that. I have to, as the TNA stan, I have to come up and have to defend it. Okay, all right. Turning it back to you there.
So, we've talked about how we like Jeff Jarrett on the show. Obviously, Austin is a little bit higher on the level of fandom there. But there
tilted.
are some similarities between these two gentlemen, and there are some good value points by MJF. He is a bit of a Grim Reaper when it comes to he shows up, things die. So, TNA almost died. Global Force Wrestling died. There's a lot of these things that he had that when he's around, they go away. Now, am I going to blame Jeff Jarrett for TNA? No, I'm going to blame Dixie Carter and one Hulk Hogan.
That all happened after he got out of ownership of TNA. Global Force, he basically just fleeced the new TNA to give him a cash grab for his replacement, and then he bailed. So, I mean, for what it's worth. I'm just saying.
But there's some pieces there. But now when I think about the heel Jeff Jarrett, WCW Slapnuts Jeff Jarrett, and then heel TNA Jeff Jarrett, I do see a lot of MJF in that aspect. Maybe not as crude, or dare I say as good on the mic. But I will say I will say MJF cooked, and I mean cooked Jeff tonight. Where the first one, I thought Jeff won. I thought Jeff Jarrett won round one. But I'm going to 100% give round two to one Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Because all the points he brought up, hell, he even brought up Owen Wilson. He brought up his beautiful wife and said
Owen
that.
Hart?
Yeah, Owen Hart. Yeah, Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. I was like, what does Owen Wilson have to do with this?
He brought up Owen Hart. He also brought up his wife and said that, once he gives her back that, and then she'd have a generational talent and a gold medalist balls on her breath or whatever. I was like, Jesus, dude. Like, he absolutely cooked him tonight. Cooked.
I would heartily disagree. Although I don't think Jeff Jarrett did particularly well on the mic tonight. The entire segment was a little too long.
I agree.
Kind of dragged there a bit. You didn't really get a strong enough reaction at the end for all that talking. I still wouldn't say MJF cooked Jeff Jarrett on the mic because it's still the same MJF. It's all shtick and shock value and no real substance.
I mean, that was Jeff Jarrett back in the day when he was a heel.
No, Jeff Jarrett was a masterful heel. Go watch mid-90s WWF Jeff Jarrett. That was a dude that got under your skin. MJF just says mean things and sometimes makes a silly voice.
MJF is consistent, though, with his way he goes about this. So it's not just a Jeff Jarrett thing. This is the same sort of line that MJF takes whenever he's digging into any face he's dealing with, right? For what it's worth. Okay.
He gets really personal.
He gets really personal, but because people want to see it. They want the shock value of it, right? Here's the thing, boys. I don't care about any of this.
You should.
This whole thing last week. Okay, fine, cool, right? I get it. This week, it was just another bad replay. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. This was all filler to me. Don't care. Sorry.
I'd agree. And I don't think an MJF and Jeff Jarrett program is a bad idea or a bad thing to run, but in execution, this did seem like filler tonight.
Yeah. I mean,
this could have been 4 minutes.
Yeah. It went about 5 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with MJF's promos is the thing about Jeff is a recovering alcoholic. Okay, yes, but it's not like he was cutting that promo on Jeff Hardy, who very publicly has had very bad problems in the
Right.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett probably drank a little too much back in the day, but there's not a long history of Jeff Jarrett
he's been in the program for
too much.
decades, so
yeah, like
he's a successful recovering alcoholic. I don't know if
that's
you can say
that's
that.
the problem with, and that's why I say it's all shtick and no substance. Like that line didn't really hit because there's nothing to really tie it to that anyone's particularly aware of. I would imagine 90% of that crowd had no idea Jeff Jarrett used to be an alcoholic.
There's two shoes in a pair, my good man Austin. And not only did you give Jeff Jarrett, a man who is publicly entered the last year of his contract, not in the same wrestling shape as a Bryan Danielson in the last year of his wrestling life, right? This full time to do the exact same thing he did last week, but you have a follow-up, attaboy, behind the scenes with him. Again, I don't care. I don't believe Jarrett's going to be a champion, not a world champion. He'll get some title before the end of the year, but he won't get the AEW championship.
Oh, no way.
I don't think he needs. I don't think he should. And I'll be completely honest with you. I'd rather for him just to kind of go into the sunset into the back and run things, which we need him to more behind the scenes than be in front of my TV. So both ends of this, I just don't care.
I think there's good TV to be made in a Jeff Jarrett babyface victory lap over the course of this year.
It's never a bad swing to take, a guy, a longstanding person, and give him that one final tour, right? It's never a bad thing to do.
Yeah,
but you got to keep it like kind of superficial
and
like
very
maybe
short.
over a couple
I don't need
weeks.
him. I don't need him for 15 minutes of a 2-hour TV show on my screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe you've got a few weeks in between pay-per-views. You build up to a title match on a Dynamite. Like that's cool use of his time.
Sure.
But this was not. What would have saved this segment is as soon as MJF started talking, Satnam Singh just walked out of the back and just bonked him on the head. And then we just cut to commercial and move on to the next thing.
And they literally have no idea what to do with MJF because they don't want to put him up against Moxley and put him in the middle of all the other stuff because it's just another moving piece, right?
And a heel.
And he needs to be in that picture, but you've got too many other things muddying up that picture. So you just go yell at Jeff Jarrett, right? So both ends of this don't give a shit. Sorry.
It gives you something to do with MJF?
What?
Putting the title on Kenny Omega?
Yes.
I mean,
that's the answer to all their problems.
There's a theme tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
So good. All right. So let's go ahead and end it where it ended. At least in my mind. The women had themselves a casino gauntlet match, and the winner is going to take on the women's AEW champion at Grand Slam. And I mean, it opens obviously with the champion Mariah May coming out to do commentary, which, her little sassy ass on there just burying people is great.
I loved her and Tony's dynamic was surprisingly really entertaining.
Well, Tony's just great.
Tony's Tony. Yes, I know. But
so the match opened up. So there was a total of 7 participants in the match tonight. And it opens up with Stat as number 1. Then Jamie Hayter is number 2, which I enjoyed. Jamie Hayter looked great. Of course, Stat is the workhorse of their women's division, right? She's the biggest. She's the baddest, right? Well, the third entrant said, "Hold my beer," because Megan Bayne, ladies and gentlemen, has not been confirmed if she is a part of AEW or not right now, but she is a part of this, and she is literally the one who can go toe-to-toe size-wise with Stat. And if not, might even be a little bit bigger than Stat. Before I get into the rest of them, what did you think of the Megan Bayne sighting, gentlemen?
I enjoyed it. It was unexpected. I feel like the big reveal was kind of, forgive me for saying this, I feel like it's kind of wasted for out of nowhere on a Wednesday night for a crowd that had no reaction to her. I feel like you had done that. And nothing against Cincinnati crowd. They were mostly good all night, right? I feel like you'd have done this in a different city. You might have got a bigger pop, right? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I know that a lot of us have talked about it. You had been very big on Megan Bayne for months, Jamie. I think it's good. I think while she's not necessarily the same as Statlander, she's similar enough to get some familiarity for the casual AEW viewer, but give a little different, something new to look at, right? That's not an offshoot or, former WWE whoever.
I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit on one point.
Okay.
I don't know, outside of like maybe at a specific place or two in the Northeast, but generally speaking, I don't think your average TV pro wrestling fan is that aware of Megan Bayne.
No.
They should be before too long. Like, I think she definitely fits. She's great to bring in. I think this is a good spot to bring her in. I don't think you needed to save that for trying to get a bigger pop somewhere else, because I don't know that there's many places where that would really hit home.
I mean, I'll give that
and
to you, yeah.
I think debuting someone like that in this match, one, puts over the Casino Gauntlet even more, makes it a little bit more anything can happen. You never know who's going to show up. And two, was just a very good show to introduce her to your crowd. I think if you weren't familiar with Megan Bayne previously and you watch this tonight, you're definitely interested to see more. And that's like the best you could want out of that.
Yeah, and gentlemen, if you'd let me just pull that little pin
there's a pin you had hanging out there. Oh my God.
I did. So there are two women that I personally think will be the ones to take the TBS championship off of one Mercedes Moné, and Megan Bayne is definitely on that list now. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if she's coming in. She's gonna be a part of this organization. She has it. She's got that aura about her. She looked great in this match. Like her and Stat having the stare down. Like I got some vibes from that just because I've been wanting to see that for a year and a half. However long it's been. I feel like those two could have just a ruckus of a match between those two. And then, she is a great wrestler, very highly athletic, and she's a big woman, like I said, like she's beefcake. And I feel like those two would be a good match, Mercedes and her. Now, my other one, when she comes back, is Camille. I think, again, Camille makes sense.
Story-wise, that makes the most sense, probably, because of the way
I prefer Megan over it, but Camille makes sense.
I'm with you there, too. I think that there's this, Austin, because if you do either one of those, I mean, throw Stats. Stats trying to get that. That was her title before, as well. I mean, Camille, Megan Bayne, Chris Statlander. You want to put Willow in there too, but you've got the beefcake women's division, basically. Throw the big strong women together fighting for a title. Okay, I'm in.
I'm gonna say with a very high degree of confidence that neither Megan Bayne nor Camille will take that belt off Mercedes.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Will anybody, or do you have a prediction?
I think it is either going to be Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale, and it should be Willow Nightingale.
I mean, I'm here for Willow because Willow.
You have to crown Willow.
Yeah.
You have to crown Willow sooner rather than later. That doesn't mean like by Grand Slam, but maybe by Revolution. I don't think Camille is ever going to hold a title in AEW. we've seen Camille. She's big. She's all right. But like, I think you have too many other more talented women, and especially now that you have Megan Bayne in there, because Megan Bayne gives you what you otherwise would get out of Camille and more.
Okay.
But I think Megan Bayne, if she is signed, which we don't know for sure yet, if she's going to be coming back regularly, I think she's more of a longer term play. I think if she is showing up regularly, I think after Tony inevitably takes the title off Mariah, I think Megan Bayne and Mariah is a good story going forward from there. Because Mariah did mention running into her in Stardom while she was on commentary tonight. So you've got a little bit of history, not enough to like have an immediate angle, but a good place to start from to give Mariah something to do when she drops the title to Tony. But the TBS title, it either needs to be Statlander or Willow, and it really needs to be Willow.
So Willow's pop was ridiculous when she came out, right? Like she got the loudest women's pop of the night, other than Tony. Like Tony's pop was great too. Mm-hmm. But when she did that crossbody and then she posed for the camera and people saw it and went nuts for it even there, like, dude, like she should be positioned as their number 2 baby face behind Tony. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, and they all did really well. So after Megan Bayne, you had Julia Hart come out as well, too, which, I think that, and they've been kind of, not rushing Julia Hart back into any real picture. They kind of have her and Jamie Hayter still keeping themselves occupied, which I think is fine for both, to be honest with you there. Julia Hart's just come back. Jamie Hayter's still not the Jamie Hayter, when she was at her peak, and you don't want to rush her back and risk not capturing that gold again, because I think you can with Jamie Hayter in the long run. She did it once. People still love her for the most part. They just have other things they're focused on right now. I get it, right? And Julia Hart, everybody knows. I mean, this show has been a very big fan of the transformation done to Julia Hart. You just brought her back, right? But they both got good reactions from the crowd. Willow pop was massive, though. Willow is the star. I think you're right, Austin. Especially when you look at the long-term story with her and Mercedes. Yeah, of course it makes sense. It's her that takes that belt off of her.
And once she does, now you've got Willow and Statlander for the TBS title as a nice thing to flow into from there. But we have mentioned most of the women in this match. We have yet to mention.
I was saving one for you there, buddy.
The main character of the AEW Women's Division.
Yes, gentlemen, are you ready to feel the wrath? Are you ready to feel the wrath?
Feel the wrath.
It's so good.
Harley Cameron, our hero. Like, I feel at this point,
our father, Harley Cameron,
our father,
the new patriarch.
Yeah. We're gonna start calling her that.
She is absolutely amazing, and she got blacklisted by Julia, and it was absolutely hilarious. Like, they sold the shit out of that so well. So
I do have something on that, but go ahead, JJ. I'll follow
okay, you because I'm probably just gonna tee it up for you here. I don't want to see her go down the full angle like Sky Blue did, but I'd like to see like kind of a comedic half-ass attempt at that same sort of angle about her now that she's been misted. Just saying, she's got the chops for it.
Often on this show, I will throw out hey, it'd be cool if they went in this direction in full sincerity, because I think it'd be good for the show. And then occasionally I throw something out because it is ridiculous and it would just pop me. This is the latter. I'm going to disagree with you on that, JJ.
Okay.
I want the myth to affect Harley Cameron. I want Harley Cameron to replace Malachi Black in the House of Black and just everyone no-sells it.
Yes. She's
Harley Black.
Change her name from Harley Cameron to Harley Black.
She's got like the head gimmick and all that, and she's just always standing with them, and like they never acknowledge that like that's Harley Cameron. What is she even doing here? But she's just hanging out with the House of Black in Malachi Black's spot.
Oh my God.
I'd love for one of them just to give her a side eye, like, what are you doing here? And then like she just keeps like whatever.
I want someone backstage to try and bring it up, and Brody just barks at him, and they never mention it again.
Have a good night, Clint.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh. So this match ends up with Toni Storm winning, as we all called last week.
Easiest prediction to ever make.
So you have a month. You have a month to build up Toni, and I feel like we're gonna get Toni's gonna remember her timeless time over the next month, but still be Toni time Toni. She will not be timeless.
She doesn't need to be.
No. I wouldn't. So Harley Cameron was mockingly playing along with the idea that she's a rookie, right? You know, she had killed the previous Toni Storm. This is a new clone or whatever the fuck she was saying, you know. But like you said, Jamie, there's a full month to go here. I feel like you're gonna have like some weird personality things shaken up, leading to Toni Storm, but not the amnesia, right? I think you're going to get baseline face Toni Storm at Grand Slam, right? There's going to be some ups and downs personality-wise, but when she wins the title, it's going to be baseline, kind of like recognizing the past, knowing what's going on, no longer crazy Toni Storm. That's what my thought is. I don't know if I love that or not, to be honest with you, but I feel like that's what they're going to do. They're going to end this note with her being, lack of a better term, regular Toni Storm.
Yeah.
I like that there's a month to build to this match, because you can do a lot of storytelling in that time. I think there's a good story in there you can tell where Mariah May actually tries to bring Timeless Toni Storm back out of rookie Toni Storm, because Mariah May beat Timeless Toni Storm. So you have somewhere the champion's starting to get a little bit nervous, and she's trying to turn her back into Timeless because she knows she can beat Timeless Toni Storm. Like, I think there's something there you could tell, but we have seen nothing but gold from Mariah May and Toni Storm for the last year. So I figure whatever they're going to do, it's going to be worth watching.
It's going to be great.
For sure.
Guarantee that.
For sure. That was Dynamite, gentlemen.
Yeah, it was pretty good Dynamite. You know, not going to lie. I said, I'm interested to see how they go with the production angle, too, because I feel like they're just now kind of getting, you know, this is their first like real shot. I mean, outside of Jacksonville, because that's whatever, right? That's different. I think this is their first real kind of attempt at doing this new venue-esque promo, you know, smaller, some of the theater style things, you know. I think they're just going to refine it a little bit over the next couple weeks and months. I think it's going to be really good, and I'm really excited to see them visually differentiate themselves. Right, you know, because a different looking product sometimes is all you need. All right, anything else?
I got nothing, guys.
Yeah, like unless we want to start super early talk of next year's fantasy football league, but that seems a little much.
I'm done with football. I've quit football. No more football.
Yeah, I bet you're done.
I'm done with football after. Let's talk about basketball. My basketball team's actually doing halfway decent, man. Come on, let's go. No, yeah.
You let Russ cook.
I have no idea.
Dude, I heard you guys might get Aaron Rodgers, and I heard that, and I was
no,
if that happened,
fuck
I'm
no,
gonna laugh in your face.
No,
so hard.
Fuck no, that's terrible. Here's the thing, guys. Okay, I am not a fortune teller, but I can pretty much predict what's going to happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. They're going to pull some moves that may be head scratching and may start off, hey, that could potentially be groundbreaking. It's not going to matter. They're going to go over 500. They're either going to barely miss out or they're going to just make the playoffs. If they do make the playoffs, it's because they have some sort of run in the middle of the season that gave you hope and then came down to a shattering close at the end of the season. It won't matter because if they make the playoffs, they're going to get blown out by whoever the fuck we got to play. So, hey, I'm a fortune teller. Okay.
Get him the Mark Stradamus hat.
Yes.
I don't need to. I have a goddamn stamp right there. 6 trophies and a fucking stamp. That's my consolidation is. All right. Enough talk about football. Hi. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys joining us here. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Come follow us along. Maybe we'll get Austin Reddick and Heidi Hauser to watch more NXT. Maybe that'll never happen ever again. I don't know, but we're going to talk about wrestling next week. Thank you. If it's your first time here again, we appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up. It helps out quite a bit. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Hit the little bell icon. You can know when we go live. We don't do this just on Wednesdays. Sometimes we do pre-shows at local wrestling promotions, which are starting up again in 2025. Just saying. But no, we'll be here next week. Follow us along on Twitter, or X, on Blue Sky at Total Spotfest. Jamie, take us home, man.
Don't forget to do a TikTok while it still lasts. I'll be gone by the time we're on next week. So whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Down Total Spotfest, I got 3 words for you. Feel the wrath.
Good one.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Peace.
Later.